day for the week for our live sessions. So that means you do not have class on tomorrow. The course is still open, obviously, but there is no live session. So just wanted to remind you guys of that. Today, we're going to talk about resumes and remember to set those appointments. I saw that most of us did that. There are a few that still have not done that. Please, it's very important that you set those appointments. Even if you have a resume, and this is really for those that probably are watching this as opposed to those that have come to class, please remember in the assignment that says to schedule an appointment, do not post your resume there. The goal is not for me to see that you have a resume. The goal is for career services to review your resume and to sign it saying that they have reviewed it, edited it, given you feedback. And then the resume that they sign, you're going to turn in next week. So the assignment from yesterday that says to schedule an appointment to work with career services on your resume, I just want to know that you did that. So showing me that you have a resume tells me that you haven't done that yet. You're supposed to schedule an appointment to have them look at that resume that you have. Does everyone understand? So in the assignment yesterday, give me the time and date. Please do not say, oh, they already seen my resume. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen the signed copy saying that they've seen it. So that's the whole point of that. All right. So if you did that, I sent that assignment back to you for you to put the date and time in it. Any questions on that? Okay. Next, so let's talk a little bit about resumes. Like I said, you will be working directly with career services to physically do your resume, but what we're going to discuss here is the important elements of the resume. You will be writing your resumes and updating your resumes until you retire, unless you start your own business and you don't have to do that. But even with your own business, you still will have to do things that showcase your experience. So in some type of format, you will be showcasing your experience, even if you're running your own business. You still have to write up, different types of proposals or contracts to what your business can do, which is a separate type of document, but it still is going to be showcasing what you can do versus what they want. So in essence, that is what your resume is all about. Your resume is all about responding to an advertisement, a job advertisement, showcasing what your skills are. So am I saying that your resume is not just a list of your skills? That is correct. Most of us can agree that it will take more than two pieces of paper to write down all the skills that we have. My resume has gotten up to 4 pages, and that is still with me chopping down all the experience that I have. There's no way I can put all of my experience on my resume. So what I essentially do is put down on that resume really that response to an advertisement, the skills, both hard and soft, that advertisement says it's looking for. So if I'm an accountant, or let's just use in real life, I am a financial analyst. I'm also a government contractor. I'm a grant writer, development officer. I've had all those skills. I'm also an educator, right? I've been teaching for 24 years. If I apply for a job to work with the federal government, I'm not putting my teaching experience on that resume. Do I have it? Yes. Do I put it? I don't put it. It's not relevant to what they're asking for. If I'm applying to a job in finance, I adjust, even if I do put, maybe because there's a large gap where I worked with the government, I'm only going to put the work that I've done in finance. I'm not going to just lay out all these different, you know, uh, things that I've done with the federal government that's more than finance to and respond to a finance advertisement. Oh my God, is this lady telling me I have to write my resume over again and again and again? Yep. So your resume is a response to a job advertisement. So you have to adjust your resume to showcase the skills that they want to see. So why are we writing this resume now if we're just going to have to change it? Because that's why you're going to career services, because if you're in the VA program or the welding or HVAC or electrical, they are going to help you to adjust your resume for the job that you're trying to get after you graduate. So that means that once you go to the next job and if it's a little different from the job that you have, then you're going to have to adjust your own resume. That's why it's so important that we're going to teach you how to do that. Does that make sense? I'm going to tell you why this is going to be very, very important, right? If you want to secure employment, you have to understand how resumes work. Remember, a resume is a response to a job advertisement. When you look at job advertisements, what are you looking for in those job advertisements? You are looking for the keywords. What do you think those keywords are? Somebody tell me. We've been talking about it for the past couple of days. What are the keywords that I'm referencing that you're looking for in that job advertisement? What do you think I'm talking about? Come on. I know y'all. Think about it. What have we been talking about? Skills. What type of skills? What type of skills? Somebody tell me. Now, I know y'all know.
Hard and soft.
Please, thank you so much. Thank you. I was nervous. I was nervous during hard and soft skills. So those hard and soft skills are the key words. They do what? They relate to the function of the position. Now, let's watch this. If you are looking for keywords, i.e., hard and soft skills that are written in that job advertisement, what do you think you are going to do with your resume as it relates to those hard and soft skills? You're going to adjust your resume to do what? Somebody tell me. What do you think? Go ahead, Johan.
You're gonna adjust your resume to reflect those key skills.
You sure better.
Yeah.
If you have them, right? Because if you are a hiring manager and I said that I'm looking for a veterinary assistant and I want the veterinary assistant who knows how to restrain animals, who knows how to prep exam rooms, who knows how to do patient intake, and you send me a resume that you worked at Target, you're not even gonna make it past the first round. So you may say, well, Miss Taylor, I don't have that experience, but you do. You may not have it in the experience section, but you have it in the skills section. And I'm going to talk to you about how you need to make sure that you guys put yourselves on mute. All right, that you have it somewhere in your resume. Because remember, you only want to tell them what they want to hear. If you're in school for veterinary assistant and it's not in your experience, but it's in your skills section, you're going to make sure you put that in your skills section. I'm going to show you some other sections where you're going to make sure those keywords are on your resume, or else your resume is not going to get reviewed. Some of you may say, well, I applied for jobs that I know I was, able to do. Did you have those keywords on your resume? A lot of times people don't even realize that. Now, the trick is we don't always know what the keywords are. Well, they're not going to say, hey, I'm a keyword. I've highlighted this example, but They're not going to say I'm a keyword because they assume that you know what the important things are for that job. If you say that you know how to do it. If I'm a veterinary assistant, who's in the VA program? Give me a thumbs up. You should know what it takes to be a veterinary assistant. They're not going to highlight here are the most important things. Somebody tell me what are some of the most important things to be a VA. Somebody tell me. One of my VA people. What do you think you need to know how to do to be a VA? Can any of y'all come off speaker? Nobody? Now I know my VA people are not shy, so y'all must can't come off speaker. But you're definitely going to need to know how to do some of the things I've discussed, right? Y'all give me a thumbs up at least. I need to be able to restrain animals, talk to what you call it, pet owners, exam room prep. I may have to I don't know if I'll be dealing with medicine, but may have to prep it, all kinds of things, right? I'm going to have to know how to do that. Do intake. So if I'm a welder, right? Okay, good. They're saying yes. If I'm a welder, let's look here. Any welders in the building? Like we're at the club. Who's in the building? Any welders? All right. Y'all tell me. These things that are highlighted, do they look like keywords to you? Are they important things to do in the welding department? Blueprint schematics, selecting and installing torches. I'm getting some thumbs up. Semi and manual welding equipment. So when you're looking at those job advertisements, you're looking for the keywords, right? That is your goal, right? Yeah, you're going to look to see where the company is and how much they pay, but make sure you pay attention to the fine print. There's some of us, and I know I've been guilty of it. I see a job advertisement. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Let me apply. Don't pay attention to any of the keywords, when I didn't know any better. And I would just submit my resume. I can do that job. Let me give them my resume. Now, I want you to notice something. Has anybody spotted both hard skills and soft skills on this example here? Give me a thumbs up if you've spotted both the hard skills and the soft skills. Can somebody tell me, give me a hard skill? What'd you say?
I mean, I'd say, all right, the mic up.
Keep going straight at the light. Nah, you gotta
Hey,
turn
we
to the
can
left.
hear you. Hey,
Left right here.
Ian, you're not on you're on speaker. Okay. I don't want y'all to
My
say
bad,
something
miss.
you're not supposed to. Okay. Somebody give me a hard skill. Give
Being
me
able to read blueprints and schematics.
exactly. Now, give me a soft skill that you see.
Uh, organize it, cleaning and organizing workspaces to ensure safety.
Welders, is that a hard skill or a soft skill? I guess being able to organization is a soft skill. I would agree with that. What about anything else?
Soft skill, working with other team members.
Is that on there? I don't see it. On here is something, and I'll give you a hint. It's not highlighted. What else? Oh, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Look at me. I didn't read my own example. Yeah, that's right. That last bullet, y'all saw him, right? Working with other team members. That's a soft skill. You got to pay attention to both the hard skills and the soft skills. Why is that? 90, well, I'm going to say 90, but I think the book may say 75. Most companies use automatic tracking software systems. What do you mean by that, Ms. Taylor? They're just going to push your resume through a ATS system. And if that ATS software says, oh, this is not a match, you're going to get that automatic letter saying, we're sorry, you do not meet the qualifications of this job. What do you think that ATS system is looking for? What is that ATS system going to look for when it scans your resume?
The keywords.
The keywords. Are you telling me as I clutch my pearls, Miss Taylor, that these people are going to deny me without a human ever looking at it? Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's some controversy surrounding that. Some people are saying that these ATS systems are rejecting qualified candidates. And some employers are starting to complain that, oh my goodness, maybe I shouldn't use this ATS system. I should have a second pass with a human. Well, duh. I think a lot of these AI systems are going to learn the hard way. But they are rejecting qualified candidates. But a lot of it is because if you don't have those exact words from those job advertisements, it's sending you don't qualify. So how do you beat the system? Make sure you have those words on there. Of course, they're not going to tell you which words are the most important. So you're going to put everything in that advertisement that you can do, whether you learned it from school or a job, make sure it's in your resume somewhere. Even if after you get your resume back from Career Services and you apply for a job on your own, because Career Services is going to help you, right? Maybe they may say, hey, go apply for this job and use the resume I gave you because they already know what that company wants. But if you take that same resume and you want to apply for a different job on your own, you may have to adjust that resume to make sure it makes sense for the job that you're applying for. Don't think that one resume is going to be good for every job, because every job is not looking for the same thing, right? So what are some of the sections on your resume? Most resumes have to have a heading because that tells people how to get in touch with you. The next two are going to be very important for you guys, because if you do not have the experience for what you're going into, you need to at least say how to do it from education, and you're going to put that in your summary in your skills section. Then the next section will be your experience, where you can really, really play up your soft skills. So if you've only been in customer service, if maybe you're transitioning from selling insurance and you're going into welding, then you really want to play up the soft skills in that experience section. Does that make sense? Maybe I don't have the technical skills, but I have some of those soft skills. As many of those keywords that you can plop into your resume for what you've done, that's where you want to do it. So maybe your experience doesn't, get you all the technical skills, the hard skills, but it does get you some soft skills. Obviously, your education section is going to help you a lot, because you're going to identify that you have, gone to school for this work. So your heading is going to have, things that your contact information, from your phone number, your email address, your full name, and we say your geographical location. Please don't put your whole address on your resume. Don't do that anymore, child. Y'all know the times have changed. You can't trust people, especially if you're going to post to job boards. Sometimes those are fake job boards, and we'll talk about that when we talk about security. But at least put your geographic area, because there are some companies that only want to hire people that are in a specific area. So if you're in Tampa, Florida, just put Tampa, Florida. You don't have to put your whole address, right? Or you can put Central Florida, something like that. That's all okay. But you want to have these things. If you have any type of profiles, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, preferably LinkedIn, make sure you put that, because a lot of companies want to be able to click and see that you have some type of social media. Not because they want you to have social media, but because in their eyes, if you have a social media account and you're promoting yourself, then people feel like you're more legitimate, because they feel that people that are just writing fake resumes. Yes, believe it, people do write fake resumes. They wouldn't post it online, because people will go and can research it. But most people that have valid experiences, they will put that on a LinkedIn account. And nowadays it's pretty standard for professionals to have some type of professional platform. So, and a lot of applications will ask for your LinkedIn profile, right? So there you go with that. So Now, that summary section is going to be very important that you have a summary section in your resume. You will be using this summary section in the class. So when you're working with career services, if they're doing your resume, say, can we please make sure we have a summary section? Some people call it a profile section. Some people call it a qualification section. It's that paragraph that is a brief summary of your resume right at the top. You want to have that. We're going to use it later in the course. So please try and have that. What should it include? Like I said before, if you don't have the experience, here's where you're going to prop those keywords in. So you definitely need to have it on your resume. It gives the employer a quick glance of who you are, your qualifications. And remember, they can be whether you've had the experience or you have the education, right? So it's a brief overview. And later, one of the things that we're going to use this summary section for is to do your personal brand statement, which you're going to use to post onto your social media platforms, right? But we'll talk about brand statements later. So the skill section, this is where you can put both hard and soft skills. I would reserve my soft skills for my experience section. If, I need to beef up my experience section, but normally the skills are just like little bullet points. Here's where it's okay to just put key words, right? You don't have to write a full sentence on skills. Normally it looks like two little columns, maybe 3 bullets on the left, 3 bullets on the right, and just, some key skills that you have, and these skills are going to be what you want to pull from that job board. Now, if you have some experience doing the work, you don't necessarily have to plop it here in the skills section. I would, especially for people in your situation, I would only plot the skills that I don't have in the experience section here in this skills section, right? Because the ATS system is going to pull it, from all sections. So it doesn't really matter where on your resume that you post it. Obviously, your education is important. Like I said before, people write fake resumes. They can't get away with it as much as they could back in the day, but they do. So what they ask for you to do in your education, people would just say, I went to ABC University. You'd be surprised, right? You may have seen stories back in the day of people saying they were lawyers, they were doctors, all kinds of stuff. There was a guy that actually got a job as a doctor. Can you believe it? It was a fake resume. Now, obviously, they have protocols in place for that. But what they do ask you to do is to put the name of the school, when you graduated, and the city and state of that school so they can look it up. That's why they ask you to do that. So it's so important that you have the name of the school, obviously what degree you earned, and the city and state of that education that you've earned. Now, even if you haven't graduated, you can still put your expected graduation date. We always say, as a rule of thumb, if you know you're going to graduate within 12 months or less, just put that date. You could put like December 2026. If it's beyond that, then you just write presently attending or currently attending, right? That's industry protocol. Now, with the experience section, the main thing with the experience section, and I'm going to give the disclaimer, this is my preference, work with career services. Everybody writes differently because writing a resume is an art, it's not a science. So everybody has their personal preferences. Make sure you read chapter 7, the book will talk about, what is acceptable. Most times in the experience section, what people want to see outside of the name of the company, the city and state of that company for the same obvious reasons, the title that you've had at that company, and then the dates that you worked there, they want to see right after that a brief little summary of that job. So if I were applying for an education job, right after saying that I worked at, STC, and I worked as a career prep teacher, I would write a brief summary of the course. And then I would have like 3 bullet points that talks about my accomplishments while teaching that class, right? So I may say something about the success rate of how many students stayed engaged, that didn't drop out, high GPA averages, 95% of the class passed, 98% retention rate in the past 3 years. Something that lets them know how well of a teacher I am. A lot of people make mistakes because they just put the description of the work that they do, but they don't put any type of accomplishments of how well that they've done it. Yes, people want to know that you've done the work, but what makes you stand out is when you have these accomplishment statements that talk about how well you've done the work. That's another differentiator between a resume that looks very, boilerplate, and one where the person is truly showcasing their experience. There's a lot of different formats your resume can come in. Most resumes come in what we call a chronological or timeline format. That is basically like what you've seen before. Your most recent job all the way down to your earliest job. The standard is you don't have to go back past 10 years, but it really just depends on your industry, right? Most companies say, please keep your resume down to 2 pages. So if you can fit it on 2 pages and the work is relevant, then put it on there, right? There are certain industries, like the technical industries, like IT. I'm trying to think of any other one. Definitely IT, for example, and sometimes in education as well, where you can do what we call a skills-based resume. And all that basically means is, instead of you putting, oh, I work for Southern Tech, and then I worked for the university of this person, then I worked for the university of that person, I can put, here are my top skills. I know how to do curriculum development. I talk about curriculum development, and then the bullet points, I can put the 3 different schools I worked for doing curriculum development. Then I can say, I did training and assessment, and then here are the schools I did that for. That is for jobs that are highly, highly technical. You see it a lot in IT fields, for example, and they want to know, do you know how to do that skill? They're less concerned with who you did it for. And then a combination is similar to that. You can, someone lists their skills, and then they give little brief examples of how they applied those skills at respective institutions. But by and large, the most popular resume is going to be a chronological, i.e. timeline resume. All right. Now, one other thing that is small to us but big to companies is how you give them your resume. Most of them want it in Word or PDF. Now, listen, 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 listen. Most of them are going to say PDF because they're going to use it. A lot of times they don't want to download it and then mess it up because it's in Word. And sometimes, they go through your resume when they are doing it by hand or on their own computers, and they make a mistake and they delete something by mistake. Nowadays they can put it in PDF form if they want to, but they don't want to go that extra step. If they run it through those ATS systems, it runs through most times through PDF. So they're going to ask for it via PDF. It's very easy to do a PDF. Most computers do it for you. If you have your resume in Word, all you have to do is hit Save As, and then there's a drop down. Instead of saving it as in Word, you hit the little arrow and find PDF and save it as a PDF. And then you'll have both copies. You'll still have the original Word document that you can always manipulate. And then you'll have a PDF document. Once it's in PDF, you can't manipulate that, but you can always create another one and just, save it and replace the old one. But just pay attention to that, because some companies get a little persnickety when you do not give them your resume in the format that they requested. All right. So, the only non-traditional resumes nowadays, I would say, is like LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, you showcase all your different sections in your resume, but you don't really like write it exactly like your resume. When we get to LinkedIn, I'm going to show you guys a video, and that professor is going to walk you through the whole LinkedIn online platform. But that is one example of a virtual resume nowadays, because it's like your own web page, right? And you get to showcase your talent. So clearly you want to proofread your resumes, because I've already told you that you may have to change your resume for, that job, unless you make sure you read those job advertisements. And if you find 5 or 6 jobs that want the exact same thing, then yeah, you can send them that resume. But if I'm a VA and I apply at a pet hospital, and then I apply at a pet clinic, and then I apply at a pet shelter, then I apply at a, private practice prep, a veterinary office, they're not going to all want the same things, right? Some of them will be similar, but some of them will be different. So that means I may have to adjust my resume 4 times. Because of that, the chances of making a mistake are higher. So make sure you proofread, spell check. There's a lot of different, little Grammarly and systems you can use to make sure that you don't have those errors. If you're doing a cover letter, which Chapter 7 talks about, make sure you put the right company. I've made that mistake, because you're sending out these resumes, you're trying to get a job, you're excited and anxious, and so you can make a mistake, right? And you don't want that, because there are some people that get a little, testy, and they would be like, oh my God, the person's not paying attention, and they can ding you for that. So make sure that you are proofreading and you're taking your time if you do adjust your resume. When it comes to professional references, this is something that, most people put at the bottom of their resume, references upon request. And then you have a separate sheet with your professional references. The industry standard is to have 3 references, somebody that is familiar with your work. Try to stay away from private, personal people. They want to see it, even just, colleagues. It doesn't have to be someone that you worked right next to, but in a professional setting is what they want to see. When you submit these references, you still want to have your name at the top so they'll know who the references are for. And then you want to have that person and their title. Stay away from putting their personal information on here, guys. Make sure your references know that you're using them as a reference. Ask them what information is okay to share. They may say, put my personal number. You can put my business, company in their address, but put my personal number or put my personal email. So make sure that you ask for permission. And then when we talk about interviewing next week, I'm going to remind you that you let the reference know that they may be contacted if you get past that that interview, and they say that they want to move to the next step and please provide your references. Let the people on your list know that they could get called. And what I always do as a courtesy is I send them the job description, my references. Most times now they'll have the references fill out a form online. Very few people call. Sometimes they do, but most times it's like, hey, fill out this form. So my reference won't feel like they have to do a part-time job helping me get a job. I'll send them the job description. I'll tell them what I want them to focus on. So let's say somebody I worked with, selling insurance, and I'm applying for a welding job. I'll say, hey, I'm applying for this welding job, but because we're going to be working a lot on a team, just talk about, how we work together well on a team, and how, I took initiative. Remember when I took initiative with this project? Like, the more you can give your reference a heads up of what you want them to talk about, they will thank you for it, right? I know I always appreciate it when someone wants to use me as a reference. Give me the job description, tell me the position you're applying for, and tell me what you want me to focus on. Clearly, I don't have full autonomy over what question that they're going to ask, but at least I know the direction that the person wants me to go in if I'm providing a reference. All right. So for your assignment today, what you are going to do, you are going to practice looking at job advertisements, and you are going to be looking for those keywords. What I want you to do when you look for these job advertisements, you're going to find the job advertisement. For example, if I'm a veterinary assistant, I'm going to go to Indeed. You can use LinkedIn. You can use whatever ZipRecruiter, whatever you want to use. And you're going to type in veterinary assistant as an example. And I want you to find at least 3 job postings. And then those 3, you're not just going to find any 3. You're going to find 3 that share similar skills that they're looking for. So in the 3 that you look through, you may have to look through 10 to narrow it down to 3 that want the same hard skills, at least 3 different postings, right? That mention hard skills. Now, I want you to find at least 3 different hard skills that they're all are mentioning. But when it comes to the soft skills, those are a little bit harder. So at least if you can find 1 soft skill that they're all mentioning. And then once you find that, what you're going to do is in your homework assignment, you're going to put Indeed search veterinary assistant. And then you are going to copy their web addresses. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So you're going to put, this was a job posting, this was a job posting, this was a job posting. And then here are the hard skills that they wanted. They all 3 wanted me to do animal restraint, prepare exam rooms, and do patient records. And then they all wanted effective communication. And this is how your assignment is going to look. I mean, I don't care. You can make it look a little different, but this is the information that I'm looking for. If you do not put the URL, I'm going to send the assignment back to you. If you don't give me hard skills, at least 3 and at least 1 soft skill, I'm going to send it back to you. If you don't change it, then you're only going to get partial credit. We understand? So let me show you really quickly how to do that. What you're going to do, give me 1 second, I'm going to tee it up. I'm going to go to Indeed.com. Go ahead, Jameer.
Do we have to do veterinary assistant, or can we also do welding as well?
No. I'm just giving this as an example.
Oh, okay.
I use different examples. Like I use electrical when we're talking about long-term goals. I'm using veterinary assistant because we're talking about this.
Okay.
Try to be fair. I can't always talk about electrical.
That makes sense.
I'll talk about HVAC next week. But it applies to your respective fields. Sorry to confuse you. All right.
Okay.
So in this example, I'm using veterinary assistant. I went to Indeed.com. I just put in veterinary assistant. You see that? And then I found 3. So let's pretend I use this first one over here, experienced veterinary assistant. I click on it. And on the right-hand side, it tells me what that position is. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to look at the job description. It's going to tell me, I'm going to read it because you know what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for those hard and soft skills. And then I'm going to take note of it. What you can do is right here, you see right here, it says copy link. I mean, this is a copy link. You see me circling it? You can just click it And it's right here, it says link is copied, and that's what you're going to paste. But you're going to find 3, like if you want to save this one and paste it, and then you got to find at least 2 more, you know, you may go down to the next one, veterinary assistant, and you may look and it doesn't really have the exact same work, so you may skip it and go down to the next one. You understand? Now, clearly, if I'm looking for veterinary assistants at a clinic, you know, because that one says veterinary assistant at a clinic, you see how that one says at a hospital, it may not be the exact same one. If I go up to that first one, that one is a hospital. So if I know, if I choose 3 at a hospital, they're probably going to be looking for something similar, right? So I may say, oh, that's a hospital one. Let me scroll down. I see another one that says a hospital. Let me click on that one. Let me go over here to see what they want. Oh, it's kind of looking like the same thing as that first one. Let me copy that link. Y'all understand? Make sense? Then once you get your 3 links, you just tell me the 3 things, the 3 hard skills they had in common, and at least 1 soft skill. Go ahead, Kalista.
Would it be easier to do the copy and paste on a computer than like an iPad or phone?
Definitely. Now it just depends. Like you know, some of us are very tech savvy, right? So I would say do what's comfortable for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So you copy paste that, and then that's how you turn it in. You can put it on the Word document and upload it, or you can copy and paste it right into the text box, whatever is most comfortable for you. Any questions on that before I leave it? All right, very good. So going back to our presentation so we can get our participation question for today that is due by 12:30. My friends, I'm not extending the time anymore. I did that for the first couple of days, you know, because we needed to get comfortable, but y'all are experts now. Y'all know how to turn things in. It must be by 12:30. Please do not ask me to A, give you the question. Do not text me for the question, or B, ask me to extend. I'm going to decline politely because I'm a nice person, but the answer is still no. Okay, very good. Here's your question of the day. Here's what I want to know. I want you to think about 3 different things that you learned about resumes today. Or if you feel like you already know them, tell me 3 things about resumes that you know. 3 unique things. 3 unique things. Give me a thumbs up if you learned something about resumes today. It's an ego boost. Yes, it is an ego boost. Thank you. Us teachers like to feel like we learned to teach something, you know. It's how we get paid. We don't get paid in money. We get paid in love and appreciation. All right. Very good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. 3 things. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, you're doing too much. You're making me feel too good. My chin is hurting from smiling. All right. 3 things. Oh, stop it. 3 things today, guys. 3 things that you learned about resumes. 12:30. Please, I need 100% participation. Y'all, come on. I see 37 of y'all on here. I want 37 attendances, my friends. All right? And plus, it's worth 100 points. So go ahead, do it right now. Get it done, get it over with so we can enjoy the rest of our week. Please remember, we do not have class tomorrow. We do not have a live session. You have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to turn in all these assignments and weekend. So you can start week 2 with a whole new set of assignments. Also, please remember, guys, I don't think I said this or I didn't highlight it enough. Every Monday, all the assignments open. That means you have access to all the assignments for the entire week. You don't have to wait till Tuesday to do Tuesday's assignment if it's Monday, right? We do that to, you know, give you some flexibility. We know some of you guys are working, so you don't have to wait for the assignments to open. So come Monday, the entire week will be open, right? We don't recommend you try to run and do it all until we teach you, but it is open to you. Your participation questions aren't open. They open on a daily basis, but all your homework assignments are open and they stay open for that full week. All right. You guys have until Sunday to get these things all turned in. Good job on those of us that have been turning things in. I'm going to have all your grades to you by Sunday. So please turn in as much as you can. Some of you already have some grades back. Please make sure you pay attention to the notes. Some of you got notes to make those adjustments because I want you to get your full points. All right, y'all. Enjoy your weekend, and I will talk to you again on Monday. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Oh,
Have
welcome.
a good
You're
day. Have a
welcome.
good
You
weekend.
too. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Christian. Christian, you have a question? Are you waving goodbye?